Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, we'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Dariush versus Siakarin. But before we get into the full card of predictions, we're gonna recap and talk about some of the fighters and talk about how we did. So first off, I did pretty well for the card. I didn't really bet too much. Like I feel like I was just stacked with stuff. So I think I just made like 3 bets, maybe profited like 1 unit. I didn't really invest too much. I just, did it for, this content base. So I make the content, but I wasn't really feeling like, in a betting mood or just to really delving in the way I wanted to. So I really didn't bet too much. And as far as the, the public parlay or the parlay I put on here, that one was off by 1 because of Alexander. I forget his name, but yeah. What's his name? Lucas Alexander or something? Yeah. Because he got upset, it happens. But yeah, that one, I made like 2 other ones that, hit. And again, this made like units. So I probably bet like 3 bets. 2 of them hit, 1 of them didn't. And but as far as prediction wise, I think I had 3 losses. I think Alexander was one of them. I think Medici was another loss, and it was like maybe 1 more loss. So it was like 3 losses. I think I went like 9-3. I ain't gonna get all into it, but I know pretty good record. And hey, anytime you come positive and you're really not even invested like that, it is what it is. So yeah, so I think it was a solid night, and definitely looking to invest more in some other cards, really put focus there. But I definitely give, the attention to, make the right predictions or the best predictions I can make. But as far as betting, I'm not going to always be like, never really prescribe myself just yet to be the betting go-to. But we shall see. But how'd you do, NickyBets?
Man, I did great. I saw a guy on Instagram. He does some bets, and he had Joe Anderson Brito by round 2 submission, and I think I put like, I don't know, 100, $200 on it. That one hit. And then I had Joe Anderson Brito over 1.5 in the Michael Morales fight, Jose Johnson, Mick Parkin, the Nicholas Mata didn't hit. The Chase Hooper not to go to decision, over 1.5 in the Brendan Allen fight, and then Amanda Ribas over 1.5. And then I hit on another, that was an 8-leg parlay. And then I hit it on the 7-leg parlay, over 1.5 for the Alan Perez fight, Mick Parkin, over 1.5 in the Michael Morales fight, Joe Anderson Brito, over 1.5 in the Paul Craig fight. And then Matik Orble, the one who fought Eurosmetic, I bet him straight up. So I did pretty well. I did 924 on the 7-leg, and then I did 1,130 on the other parlay. So it was a great weekend. I felt the same way, bro. Like it didn't feel like the most exciting card at first because they're like a lot of the fighters are great, like Paul Craig and Brendan Allen. I like Michael Morales a lot now, but it wasn't a stat like this weekend. We have so many fights. Like we got Rob Font, we got Davidson Figueiredo, we but Jalen Turner, Bobby Green, Sean Brady, Kelvin Gastelum. I like Clay Guida and Joaquin Silva. But yeah, there's a ton of fights on this card. Misha Tate's on it. So this card right here in particular has more as far as like name value and people that have kind of been big names in the UFC for a while. But I did great on that card. I wasn't mad at all. I'm a little bit apprehensive on this card. I think I sent you like a 9-leg parlay, which was mostly over 1.5, and you helped me kind of scrape it down to something manageable. But I had a great weekend. I was pumped the whole time watching everybody get the over 1.5s and all that stuff. Joe Anderson Brito really did me in too. So yeah, it was a great weekend. What do you think's next for Michael Morales?
Michael Morales, I really can't say just yet. Well, I guess I could say Renat Fakhretdinov, a fight that was supposed to happen in the past but didn't happen. I think Michael Morales had a good performance, but I don't think it was like a performance that says like, oh, this guy is ready to take over the division or whatnot. So, and obviously Renat Fakhretdinov like had a draw in his last fight, so Renat may choose to rematch Solecki dos Santos, but that probably might not happen. But if that doesn't happen, I feel like matching up with Michael Morales would be a good matchup. Michael Morales had a pretty good performance, but he didn't really put a stamp on his opponent. Oh yeah, Jake Matthews, he didn't put a stamp on him. And it was still, pretty competitive fight from the start to the end. It was a clear winner, but it was a competitive fight. And then Renat had to struggle. So match those two against each other, and see who's the better prospect, or the person who's ready to be a contender. But I don't think either of them are ready yet. But by matching them against each other, it could definitely propel one to say, oh, now that's a contender, like a top 15 fighter now. But that's what I would say for him. What about you?
Man, I couldn't have picked a better opponent than Renat. I think that could be easily a fight night main card fight between those two, because they're so technically sound. Jake Matthews, man, it makes me appreciate how much like people put into like their career, because you could tell Michael Morales was just a little bit quicker, a little bit more in tune with his ability, and Jake Matthews was just a dog, just ready to scrap. And I really liked that fight. I think it was a little underrated, but just because of how technical it was. And I think Renat and Michael Morales are kind of on the same level, and I think that's definitely the best matchup for him. But what do you think's next for Brendan Allen?
Brendan Allen, I would say what's best for him right now, I feel, would be a Jack Hermanson fight. I feel Hermanson really not doing nothing in the weight class. He just holding on to his spot. He just wants to enjoy all those UFC PI benefits, but he's not really fighting no one. He's just holding on to a rank. But he's not going nowhere. He's not doing nothing. There's no more hope for him. Might as well let himself be fed to a prospect or a contender. And, he could possibly still win, but I think Brendan Allen matches up well with him. And I think that gives Brendan Allen his best chance to really start to climb the rankings. But I'm not saying he can't beat some of the other guys. I definitely think he could beat other guys, but I definitely think there are more dangerous matchups with, I guess, less reward and higher risk out there. But I think Jack Hermanson right now is the highest reward, lowest risk, and I think he matches up with him. But other matchups could be Ikram Alexarov. It could be Bo Nickel. And I think right now he should beat Bo Nickel if they were to fight right now. But I don't think they will match. They're not going to give up Bo Nickel to him just yet. Bo Nickel going to need some more wins. As a matter of fact, I think at this point, Bo Nickel still has not even fought or beaten a decent fighter just yet. He's still mostly fighting amateur level fighters. So, amateur or low level, regional level fighters, I would say. So they're not going to feed or they're not going to give Bo Nickel that matchup. But yeah, the Hermanson fight just makes most sense right now. But what do you feel?
The fight that I like, the fight that I'm going to say is number 9, Khamzat Chimaev. Brendan Allen's number 8. That's the fight I want to see, because I like watching Khamzat fight. I think they're both extremely talented. And I think it would kind of put a stamp either in Khamzat, who I believe could win that fight, or Brendan Allen, who might pull up an upset that, puts him in, the top 5 to fight either Jared Cannonier or Robert Whitaker. I don't know if Israel Adesanya's coming back, but I think since Brendan Allen's number 8, maybe Apollo Costa, Marvin Vettori, or Jared Cannonier, if they want to move him up a little bit. I don't know about really Roman Dolidze. I don't desire that fight, but I would say 3 through 6. So Robert Whitaker, Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori, or Paulo Costa, or Khamzat Chimaev. Any one of those I'd want to see. What would be a catalyst for him to be, in contendership? They're probably feeding him a Jack Hermanson would probably put him in a contender spot, not really at the top of the list to get a middleweight title fight, but maybe 1 or 2 fights after that. If he's able to, deal with Jack Hermanson the way he dealt with Paul Craig. But yeah, I definitely think even Jack Hermanson it's probably the most realistic, probably the most likely situation that's going to go down, either that or Roman Dolidze, just because they're not at the very top of the food chain, but they're still in that position. So, I mean, Jack Hermanson is a good choice. But yeah, let's get this card started. I'm excited.
All right, now to our first fight on the main card and on to the predictions. So in our first fight, we have in a women's flyweight division, we got Jamie Lynn Horth versus Veronica Macedo. Her name is Veronica Hardy now. And I've been saying it twice already, so I don't know why I'm going all the way back to 2018. But anyway, Jamie Lynn Horth versus Veronica Hardy. How I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence. Jamie Lynn Horth. The confidence could be higher, but still dealing with these fighters who are, fresh. Well, Hardy has been around. Jamie Lynn Horth, this is her second fight, so I'm not going to try to be like high or lock confidence with a fighter who's this is like your second fight in the UFC. But I do think stylistically wise, it should be a high confidence match. I feel like she's the better striker. I feel like she's bigger. I feel like she's stronger, and I feel like she's definitely the better grappler and stronger grappler. In that Canadian style, Canadian MMA is very underrated. They're probably the most book smart, most technical fighters overall. Among any country. You might think Russians, they're very one dimensional a lot of times. You might think America, but they're very much just look see do and
yeah,
all over the place. Like they're talented, athletic, skilled, but all over the place and very creative. But textbook Canadians are the most textbook fighters in MMA, and that's like it's kind of carried by GSP, TriStar. They just very textbook fighters. You see what Olivier Albin Mercier, it's very technical.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
Yeah, and Jamie Lynn Horth definitely comes from that same cloth. Like she's cut from the same cloth. So I think she'll be able to corral Hardy's little karate kicks without much oomph behind them. This little fluttery kicks with no effect behind them. Punch her in the face, crowd her, take her down, bully her. I think she finishes her in the second round, and I'm thinking like a submission. So in this one, I got Jamie Lynn Horth via second round submission. Now over to NickyBets.
Man, I was gonna go the over 1.5, and I'll probably still do that with just a little bit of money, probably nothing that'll really pay off too well. I think Veronica Hardy's very talented, but she, like you said, she's undersized. If the girl's just a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, and a little bit stronger, she can get outmatched. And I think if there was like an atom weight, she'd probably do incredible. But at flyweight, the fight that I watched with her was Polyana Vienna, and that's the one I kind of went to because that's the one I wanted to see the most of. And I know it was a long time ago, but she got a submission off pretty quick in that fight, and she's definitely dangerous, definitely capable. I will bet the over 1.5. I'm hoping that it's towards the end of the second round, like you say, but I'll go low confidence, Jamie Lynn Horth. There's not too much to say about her because I only found the one fight against Haley Cowan, and it was 3 rounds, so that kind of solidifies my over 1.5 and why I chose it. And Veronica, her in against competitive opponents, she definitely can last in there. I believe over 7.5. I'm just going to really quickly look up what their average fight time is. I believe when I looked it up, it was 11 minutes and 12 minutes, and I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. Sorry, I was looking at something else, the schedule. All right, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so their average fight time's 11 minutes, and Jamie Lynn's is 15 minutes. And I know that was only considering one fight, but I think the over and 1.5 is a safe play. I'm not going to bet either way because I'm going to learn something from this one. Either Veronica Hardy's, really coming out and showing what she can do, or Jamie Lynn's kind of just doing what everybody thinks she's going to do. So, and this one, I got Jamie Lynn Horth, very low confidence, but I got the over 1.5 in this one.
All right, cool. Now to our next one. We have in the welterweight division, we got Wellington Turman versus Jared Gooden. And how I feel about this one right here, I'm going low confidence Wellington Turman to beat Jared Gooden. I just feel like Wellington Turman I just feel like in general this matchup is not like an ideal matchup for Wellington Turman, but I think he should win because it's not like he's going there with a guy who can't grab, or a guy who has terrible takedown defense who he could just lay on or just go take down and tap out. Gooden has pretty solid wrestling defense, pretty solid submission defense. His power is pretty inconsistent, but that's something to worry about as well. Like their striking and technique, not like consistent. His power is not consistent, but if it does come in on point, it could be an issue. But yeah, I think Wellington Turman should win this one. I think he should be able to take his shots. I think he should be able to, mix in the grappling to, work for some takedowns. Not to say he's gonna have great success, but I feel he can have some success. I feel like he can outwork him, and I feel like he can mix it up more. I do think this is a close competitive fight. And also, I do like the fact that Thurman has had, multiple UFC wins, whereas Gooden has only had one UFC win, and that was over a guy that in Stolze, who's not even here no more. So a little bit of an MMA long division or whatnot there, but I do think that Turman's experience will help him. Training with Alex Pereira will help him, and training with other good guys as well. And also, having more time in the UFC, having not been cut, and experience at both weight classes and wins at both weight classes, I think he'll be able to eke out a decision over Gooden. I don't think it's going to be the most pretty fight, but I think it's a fight he'll win. So not the prettiest, but he'll be more well-rounded. He'll mix it up more, and he'll do what he needs to do to get his hand raised at the end of the day. So in this one, I have Wellington Thurman via decision. Not over to Nicky Betts.
Yeah, I got a low confidence Wellington Thurman as well. Jared Gooden, the fight that you're talking about, he knocked the dude out pretty quickly. So I think as long as he doesn't make too many mistakes, he could probably eke out a win. I'm not high in the confidence at all. Their average fight time for Wellington is 11 minutes 19 seconds, and for Jared is 12 minutes 14. I'll take the over 1.5, and as far as betting goes, but I'll take a low confidence in Wellington Thurman. So in this one, I got Wellington Thurman, very low confidence, probably by decision, and I will bet the over 1.5.
All right, cool. Now on to our next one. We have in the light heavyweight division, we got Horth Submission versus Rodolfo Bellato. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going low confidence Rodolfo Bellato to beat Horth Submission. And this, in reality, this isn't like a no play for me. I'm not parlaying Bellato. I might, when the props, because the props still if you take forever to release on the sites that I use.
I know, I
Thursday,
hate
Friday.
it. Right.
Yeah, so that's a lot of time. I'll be Thursday and Friday. I don't have the mood to really look into those props. Like, why you waiting? Why can't y'all post this Monday, Tuesday? Like, that's really be
any
day
before the day before.
Yeah, so by the time, that's why a lot of times I just especially like last Friday, I didn't even care about that point. I placed like 3 bets. I was looking for was props. So you're gonna release them on Thursday, Friday. I think one of them didn't release till the day of, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to. I don't care no more. But yeah, this is like a no play as far as money line or parlay because it's just such a volatile fight. Like, it's not like Bellato. He might only have lost to what's his name, the other good fighter who's in the UFC currently. I forget his name right now. Yeah, he might have just 2 lost them, but also he's 1-1 in the Contender Series. So yes, but he's 1-1 in the Contender Series. And now he's coming in here with like minus 400, minus 500. Like, that don't make no sense. But yeah, I'm picking him to win. Not going to talk too much or even talking long enough about this one particular fight. But yeah, I think so far, Horth Submission has only shown to be a one-round fighter. And even in that, he's not the most technical, not the most skilled, pretty one-dimensional fighter. And only one round in him. I think Rodolfo Bellato will be able to send him out the first round, start to stalk, walk him down, touch one shots, level change, drag him to the mat. Like, secure position, land some more ground and pound, and tap him out in the second round. So in this one, I have Rodolfo Bellato via second round submission. Not over to Nicky Betts.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there. I don't think this fight has much potential for any money line action. I'll probably do a prop parlay like you said inside the distance. It's pretty easy to make that decision just because their average fight time is 9 minutes 11 seconds, and for Rodolfo Bellato, and 4 minutes 37 seconds for Horth Submission. So I won't bet a lot of money on it. It'll just be another part of my my prop bets that I sprinkle a little bit of money on, hoping that the numbers don't lie and that we could get a pretty easy inside the distance win. So in this one, I got Rodolfo Bellato, and I'm gonna say second round ground and pound, and I'll definitely bet inside the distance, but sprinkle not too much money on it because I haven't really seen either fighter to be super reliable.
Right. Dope. Now to our next one, we have in the featherweight division, we got Steve Garcia versus Melquizael Costa. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going low confidence Steve Garcia to beat Melquizael Costa. I know a lot of people were like, did you get it wrong? switching the fighters up. And I think maybe with the submission, I think I went overboard with it. I'm still going to stick with submission. I'm not going to switch up my prediction. But hey, betting wise, I don't have to bet what I predict as far as that. But definitely, I wouldn't bet. For me personally, maybe it was a hedge parlay. I would bet Melquizael Costa, but I'm thinking money line and more so propping the fighter I'm leaning to. I would definitely go with the dog at who's I think still like plus 180 and Steve Garcia. But yes, low count Steve Garcia to beat Melquizael Costa. I kind of look back to the Thiago Moises fight, and I feel like he didn't really fight. He stuck in the fight, but I don't really see him really fighting back against Thiago Moises. He allowed Moises to do what he wants with him. And I feel like Steve Garcia, I feel like the best times when you beat Steve Garcia is when you push it to him. You don't allow him to push you. And I feel like the way he allowed Moises to push him, I just don't think that's a good light. Now I feel like Steve Garcia, he don't lay down for anyone. Like he might get laid down, he might get laid out, but he don't lay down for no one. Like he's going to scrap as long as he's there. And typically he gets people that have been able to beat him or has shown history to beat him have been strikers. And Melquizael Costa is kind of like more so a mixed, like a well-rounded fighter. So striking really a bigger threat, especially you saw in his last fight, wasn't really the cleanest striking. And I also think Steve Garcia, you tag him and he don't get put away, he just gets stronger. Like the blood in his body starts boiling, he just gets more aggressive. He comes like in the last fight, he got dropped. In the second round, put a very tough Shalian Nuanderbeek out, like in the second round, who typically don't get finished. He had all these fights and he got finished like one time, like 40 fights, only got finished one time. And he's the second guy to finish him. First guy I think inside the UFC. So Steve Garcia is not somebody to sleep on. I think he pulls off the upset here. I think it'll be a good scrappy back and forth fight. And I think he starts to wear him down over the course of the fight, start to tag him, especially like you go into that second round, dog comes out. I think Melquizael Costa gonna get kind of overwhelmed. And like Steve Garcia is gonna fully capitalize, hurt him, then tap him out second round. So in this one, I got Steve Garcia via second round submission. Now over to Nicky Betts.
Yeah, I think you put it perfectly. I don't always bet what my predictions are, and I wasn't going to bet either way with this fight just because there's too many questions. I think, like you said, Steve Garcia is very aggressive, and he just seems to get better as the clock ticks down. But I'll go Ezekiel Costa in this one. But I will bet a small add him in one of my parlays, Steve Garcia. Just because I think you're right. I think that he can pull up the upset, but I'm not going to spread a ton of money on it, just enough to make it interesting. So when I watch the fight, I have something invested in it. But in this one, I got Ezekiel Costa, but I'm going to bet Steve Garcia just because I think plus 195 is worth, a decent play. So.
All right, that's your prediction for that one?
Yep.
All right, now to our next one. We have in the lightweight division, we got Joe Solecki versus Jakar Klose. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence, Jakar Klose to beat Joe Solecki. And I'm straight to the point in this one. I feel like Joe Solecki is kind of like a Grant Dawson, kind of like a fighter where, he looks good when he's safe, I guess. Like, he could let his strikes go a little bit, but not too much, mixing his takedowns. Then when he's on top of you, he's in his safe haven. That's Joe Solecki. Where I feel like Jakar Klose has been in dog fights. He's been there with good fighters, been there with underrated fighters. He has had more testing, like win or lose, he has held it on with just about every single guy. Matter of fact, he has held it on with everybody for. He hasn't laid down for anyone. Where we have seen Solecki laid out by this person, Solecki give a rounds and allow himself to be laid on the whole rounds by like Jim Miller and other fighters. But I feel like, but that's not to the point. To the point is, I feel Jakar Klose, the well-rounded fighter. He trains at the MMA lab, and he's actually, not just a guy that trains at the MMA lab, a guy who has success against very elite fighters and beating some elite fighters. And I think he can has shown the ability to defend takedowns well, get back to his feet well, defend submissions well. And I never really see him as a guy that's ever, looked like he's lost at it, like he's composed and in there. Maybe scrappy times he can get in his scraps. But as far as technically, as far as grappling, like I feel like he's always pretty locked in that. So I feel like he should be able to address the grappling Solecki at every point in this fight. I think the first round will be Solecki's best chance. But I feel like even there, I think Jakar Klose is going to address the grapple pretty well. Probably hold him to like minute 30 seconds of control time, if any. Or probably like 30. Minute 30 seconds of control time. I think a minimum probably like 30, 40 seconds of control time for Solecki in that round. But I think a maximum 130 control time for Solecki in that first round. And yeah, take him out the first round and then, force him to fight, which he doesn't like to do, and put him out second round via TKO. So In this one, I got Jakar Klose via second round TKO. Not over to NickyBets.
Yeah, this fight, man, these fighters are almost identical. Jakar's 13, 2-1. Joe Solecki's 13-3. So a total of 16 fights each. They both won their last fight, both from the United States, both 5'9". Reach 70 to 70.5. Leg reach 39 to 39. I think the odds speak perfectly to this. Minus 122 for Jakar Klose and plus 102 for Solecki. I think that Jakar Klose is just a little bit better, a little bit faster, and a little bit stronger, and that's going to dictate the fight. I do think that Joe Solecki is probably going to come out and try and wrestle the best that he can, and he might get a takedown, but I definitely see Jakar Klose getting it done. I'm not going to bet that way just because the odds are so close, and you know, anything can happen in MMA. Look at the Strickland situation. Nobody, including me, thought Strickland was going to come out there for 5 rounds and just take them all from Israel Adesanya, who, you know, is one of the best fighters in the UFC. So I do err on the side of caution when it comes to my betting. Their average fight time, Jakar Klose is 12 minutes 57 seconds, and Joe Solecki is 11 minutes 5 seconds. So I will bet the over 1.5 for sure. So yeah, in this one I got Jakar Klose. I'm gonna say 3rd round TKO, but I will bet over 1.5 in this one.
All right, cool. Now to our next one. We have in the women's bantamweight division, we got former bantamweight champion, former women's bantamweight champion, Miesha Tate versus Julia Avila. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going low confidence Julia Avila. Really what's bringing my confidence so low is the Sijara Eubanks fights, where she was able to, you know, really not even go for like a whole lot of takedowns, but be able to get like 1 or 2 takedowns and around and be able to hold her down like the whole round pretty much. And that still, like, you know, sticks in my mind here. So this is definitely like a no play or like a decision play here. But each best thing Miesha Tate is probably definitely decision. So no matter how you really look at this is a fight that's, I feel, going to go over, probably like going to go to the distance. But I lean the hungrier fighter. Neither of these women are particularly young. It's not like Julia Avila, like, oh, she's 30. I think Julia Avila is like 35, 36. Miesha Tate like 35, 36. So they're roughly the same age. But Miesha Tate has spent a lot of time retired, came out of retirement, lost a fight, and she hasn't fought in like a year. So a lot of inactivity on Tate's side. Also a lot of inactivity on. So a lot of inactivity on Tate's side especially, but also a lot of inactivity on Avila's side. But Avila has not accomplished what Tate has accomplished. Tate was a Strikeforce champion. She was a UFC champion. And it's not really much for her to do now. What she's trying to prove, like, she's just trying to be in a spotlight, but it's not as hungry as Avila. So I'm going to lean to the fighter who hasn't accomplished much right now, but low confidence and really no investment, or probably investment in overs and decisions here. But going Avila, just going to want it more. And yeah, it's going to come out that she's going to want it more. Whereas Tate, confidence, like, what is really fueling you? I feel like Avila has much more fuel in her, and that would be enough to eke out probably still a close, ugly decision, but a decision that she'll win. So in this one, I got Julia Avila via decision. Not over to NickyBets.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree 100%. I think that Miesha Tate probably isn't as hungry as someone who's 9-2 when she's 19-9. You know, a ton of fights, almost triple what Julia Avila has. But I just think the momentum, Miesha's coming off a loss, Julia's coming off a win. I probably won't bet this one at all as far as either fighter goes. I have a low confidence Julia Avila, but I will bet the over 1.5 because I know Miesha Tate's tough, and I know that she could probably stick it in there over 1.5. And I know with the fight between Jessica Andrade and Mackenzie Dern, like, I thought the younger, more hungry, more talented fighter was going to come out there and just be a little bit better, and she got, you know, pieced up. So I won't bet on either of these girls, but I would love to watch the fight. I'll go low confidence Julia Avila, but I'll definitely do the over 1.5 considering their combined fight time.
All right, cool. Now to our next one. We have in the middleweight division, we got Punahele Soriano versus Dustin Stoltzfus in high flip this one right here. I'm going I don't know if I went lower average, but either way, it don't really matter too much. Average confidence, I'll go with it. Not Dustin. Average confidence, Punahele Soriano to beat Dustin Stoltzfus. You're gonna get straight to the point with this one. Both these guys are looking pretty low tier, especially Stoltzfus. But Punahele Soriano is definitely on a bad streak right now, or not the best point in his career right now. I think he bounced back with a win, I believe. But yeah, he definitely doesn't have the steam he did when he was freshly coming off the Contender Series and was packing up some wins. He ran into like wall with Britton Island, and yeah. But I think this fight should win. I feel like he has the wrestling to keep it, dictate where this fight takes place. So he has the wrestling, whether he uses offensively, which he probably won't, but I think he'll use it more so defensively. Not going to defeat. He's just the sharper, heavier-handed striker, more experienced, more confident as far as getting the job done on the feet. I feel like Stoltzfus' best job, success has come in the grappling department, or injuring his opponents like he did against Piper. But yeah, so his best success have come in grappling exchanges. And I feel like Punahele should be able to keep this in a striking realm, and I feel like he should have a clear advantage there. And I'm saying a second round TKO for Punahele Soriano. So in this one, I have Punahele Soriano via second round TKO. Now over to NickyBets.
I'm staying away from this fight completely. I do think that Dustin is a little bit less of a fighter as far as his skills go than Soriano, but I'm not going to bet the over 1.5 because their combined fight time is 9 minutes 33 seconds, and Dustin Stoltzfus is 9 minutes 55 seconds. There's just no value in this fight for me as far as money goes, because like you said, it's not like super high quality of fighters. They're amazing, they're great, but it's not something that I see as a reliable win either way. So in this one, I got low confidence Soriano, but I will not bet anything either way.
All right, cool. Now to our next one. We have in our first fight on the main card. Well, this is our second fight on the main card. We have in the lightweight division, we got Clay Guida versus Joaquim Silva. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence. Joaquim Silva to beat Clay Guida. I feel like historically, Clay Guida has never really done well against black belts, especially black belts with multiple threats. And Joaquim Silva is that. And also, it's not like Clay Guida is getting any younger. They might not be like crazy difference in age, but there's definitely crazy difference in mileage. Clay Guida has been around for a long time and has been in the UFC at a higher level for a long time, and still at this point, pretty decent level as well, despite being fighting for like 29 years. I mean, I've been fighting. I'm not 29 years. I'm exaggerating a little bit. I think it has
feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been fighting for a long time, so he's been in the UFC for at least over a decade. So yeah, I think Joaquim Silva's gonna go out there. He's gonna press Clay Guida. Clay Guida's probably gonna try to come with some overhands, probably shoot some aggressive takedowns, but Joaquim Silva probably gonna defend the first couple takedowns pretty well. And then he's gonna start to really stalk and hurt and connect on Clay Guida. And Clay Guida's gonna probably be, panic mode, mop mode, head just like covering his eyes to try and reach for a leg or reach for something. And I think Joaquim Silva's gonna meet him with a guillotine, jump on it, and tap him out first round. So in this one, I got Joaquim Silva via first round submission. Now over to NickyBets.
Yeah, it's funny. The reason that I picked Joaquim Silva is his fight with Arman Tsarukyan. He lasted almost the full 3 rounds, so I think he's pretty reliable in that aspect. There's not too much to say that you didn't already say. I think the mileage on Clay Guida could be either his to his benefit or to his downfall. So yeah, in this one, I'm just going to be very quick, pick it real quick. Joaquim Silva, I will bet him money line, but I might look at Clay Guida if the numbers become ridiculous, just because it happens. So yeah, in this one, I got Joaquim Silva. I'm going to say by a third round. Third round submission.
So yeah, actually forgot one. Kind of jumped over to Cody Brundage versus Zach Reese fight. So on to that one before we get back to where we were at. So yeah, it just one we got Cody Brundage versus Zach Reese in the welterweight division. No, it's middleweight division. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence Zach Reese to beat Cody Brundage. I feel like it's a good matchup for him. I feel like it's a good time. And Cody Brundage has not looked pretty terrible in his last two fights. He got away with one that he should have definitely lost in his last one. He got a DQ victory. He definitely played the acting role and won the Academy Award. But yeah, so he looked flat in his last two fights. He looked terrible in both of those two fights. Should be 0-2 his last two, but he's 1-1. Zachary's coming in. He has pretty solid wrestling defense. Has some good knees and good underhooks to deal with wrestlers. And it's not like Cody Brundage. It's not like Cody Brundage at this level has ever really shown to be a guy that could wrestle you for 15 minutes. And I really even seen him have any real wrestling success. If anything, he's kind of been like maybe an opportunistic submission artist or opportunistic finisher. So really a low level skill set, like relying on catching someone or relying on just that perfect opportunity to jump on the submission instead of really setting the submission up or setting the strikes up. Just like, I caught you, I knocked you out. I caught you, you were overstanding, I submitted you, but nothing really structured with him. So I feel like Zach Reese can defend takedowns, stab him with knees to the body, elbow him, picking him apart, and I think he puts away Cody Brundage in the first round. So he can address everything Brundage brings, limit that puncher's chance, limit that submission artist's chance, and just be the cleaner fighter, constantly pressure him, pull out four shots and four striking from Brundage, make him pay, pin him to the cage and tee off on him and get him out of there first round. So in this one, I got Zach Reese via first round TKO. Now over to NickyBets.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that I could go with Cody Brundage after what he did to me with the Jacob Malcolm fight. That was brutal, man. Like, I mean, fair play to him, and Jacob Malcolm made that mistake, but irregardless, he shouldn't have won that. He was getting dominated. I think he's a low level of competition in the UFC. He's not the highest quality fighter. I think he does have good aspects of him in certain areas. Quitting, I guess, is not one of his better aspects, but I'll bet over 1.5. I think it should be a clear path to victory for Zachary Reese. I don't see really anywhere where he can't deal with what Cody Brundage brings to the table. So in this one, I got Zachary Reese, and I'm going to go inside the distance for my bet.
All right, cool. Now on to our next one. We have in the welterweight division, we got Sean Brady versus Kelvin Gastelum. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence Sean Brady to beat Kelvin Gastelum. The more I think about this fight, the more close it gets, but I'm going to stick with Sean Brady to beat Kelvin Gastelum. I feel like what has Kelvin Gastelum done at welterweight in recent years? He hasn't fought at welterweight in like 5 years. He's cutting down. Supposedly got a new nutritionist. He just finally got back on a win by beating Chris Curtis. But Chris Curtis engaged him in the fight that he wants. Chris Curtis is not like a wrestler going to try to wrestle him. So I can say, Kelvin Gastelum wrestling defense so good. Like, not really. But so he been on a huge losing streak. And he got a win by fighting a guy who was older than him and fought the style that he wanted to fight, and it was still a very close fight. Sean Brady could mix it up. He goes on. Sean Brady's been adjusted to this weight class. Not like Sean Brady is the one, returning from middleweight. Sean Brady's been accustomed to weight class. He had his first setback, and it was to the true number one contender at this weight class. So you could try to fall him for it as much as you want. You can say, Belal Muhammad don't finish no one, so that makes it worse. But Belal Muhammad is very much the true number one contender at this weight class, and you rarely ever see a guy get this much flack for losing to the true number one. They usually say, he just fought the pretty much the number two best guy in the weight class and lost him. So that's not a bad thing. Typically, people write it off, but they, for some reason, giving Sean Brady a lot of flack for it. But yeah, I definitely see if Kelvin Gastelum keeps this on the feet, the obvious thing to say he should be able to win this fight. He should win this fight. But I think Sean Brady could surprise a lot of people on the feet against Kelvin Gastelum here. Then on top of surprising on the feet, I feel like he gains respect. Then once he gains respect on the feet, I feel like the takedown will become even more easy. And it could be also the other effect that by mixing the takedowns, he can get Kelvin Gastelum to drop his hands. And a lot of times we get Kelvin Gastelum to drop his hand and he started worrying about other things. He just literally just throws defense out the window and just eats punches and try to hit you back. Like he just throws his striking out defense out the window. And I feel like all those things that happen, but ultimately I feel a combination of those factors, and then also gaining respect of Kelvin Gastelum, maybe even hurting him, maybe even clipping him, maybe even sitting him on his butt 1 second. Because now Kelvin Gastelum probably just thinking he's just gonna come for takedowns, come with an overhand, sit him on his butt. Kelvin Gastelum, having this, that heart that he has, probably gonna spring right back up. But now he's gonna have Kelvin Gastelum respect, and he's gonna start to get him to, pick his hands up to try to block, double leg or single leg, initiate a takedown, drag him to the mat, and really start to wear on more. And I'm saying a second round submission for Sean Brady. So in this one, I have Sean Brady via second round submission. Now over to NickyBets.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Sean Brady in this one too. I think the fact, like you said, that his only loss is to Belal Muhammad, and what Belal Muhammad did to Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns, how he fought Khamzat Chimaev, I think it just reflects perfectly that Belal Muhammad is, that guy. So his one loss being to him, Kelvin Gastelum being 18-8, and his last win being Chris Curtis, who, like you said, Chris Curtis, he kind of lulled me to sleep in that fight, and Kelvin kind of took over in the striking department. So I don't think that Sean Brady will make those same mistakes. I don't think that Sean Brady isn't reflective, representative of his 15-1 resume. I really like Sean Brady. The Kelvin Gastelum versus Israel Adesanya fight will always go down. It's one of the greatest battles at middleweight that you'll ever watch. So I would never say anything ill about Kelvin. I like the guy. He seems like a genuinely a good person. But I think the younger, hungrier, sharper fighter is going to pull out the upset. And I think that Sean Brady's going to get a win back on his column and, start marching his way down welterweight and maybe get stopped by somebody, you know what I mean, eventually. But he fought Belal Muhammad, like you said, so it's reflective of what is going on in the universe of the UFC. So yeah, in this one, I got medium to low confidence in Sean Brady. I think he pulls out the win, but I will bet over 1.5 just because their combined fight time is 12 minutes for Sean Brady and 13 minutes for Kelvin Gastelum.
All right, cool. Now to our next one, we have in the bantamweight division, we got Rob Font versus Deiveson Figueiredo. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going low confidence Deiveson Figueiredo to beat Rob Font. And I can understand the whole thing. They say, he got boxed up by Moreno like 2 of the 3 or 3 of the fights that they fought. And Rob Font's bigger and such. But I just feel like Rob Font, he has the dog in him, but I feel like just look at the Corey Sandhagen fight, for example. Like the Corey Sandhagen fight, I feel he was very aggressive off his back and looked pretty clean off his back. Matter of fact, was surprised how good he looked off his back in the first round. But I feel like beyond the first round, like he just didn't really do anything. He just accepted getting taken down, didn't try to get back up. And especially now, it's even crazier to hear, like after the fight, that Corey Sandhagen, I think he had a broken hand like most of the fight or something, or if not the whole fight, and was able to just wrestle him down with one hand. It's like Corey and Rob Font just accepted that. Instead, it's like saying, like, let me get back up. It's not like it's no real great submission threat from Corey Sandhagen, but still, he let Corey Sandhagen pretty much with one hand take him down for 5 rounds and lay on. That's pretty much what the fight. Not a whole lot of striking, just getting himself taken down. And that was just not a good look. It's not like he came with any injury or anything. I mean, they say everybody come with injuries all the time, but not to no excusable level. Like, he should have fought a lot more. And I think also Deiveson Figueiredo is going to be an attack leg because from Moreno's smaller, legs aren't as long. I feel like the leg's going to be an easier target for Figueiredo. I feel like Figueiredo's grappling is underrated, and I feel like he would have success there. He's very sharp. I think coming from the smaller weight class, he'll have much better timing and be much more crisp and faster with his shots. I think his power could surprise Rob Font, probably be to clip Rob Font, sit him down, and shift the momentum in probably crucial rounds or crucial moments. I think he can find success in takedowns. I feel like he can initially, get the fight to the mat by, landing some calf kicks on Rob Font, maybe some inside leg kicks, timing Rob Font as he come in with the jab, which he likes to do a lot. And again, he's not as, active. Well, I mean, he's active statistically, but with Moreno, it's just a flyweight intensity. And the fact is throw anything out there. Like, it might be, you might throw more volume, but the way Moreno fights is, you might throw 1,000 shots, he might throw 800. The way he comes at you is like, it's a much more intense. And unpredictable in a way with Moreno, because he's not the most textbook fighter. You're dealing with a very unorthodox fighter, but he's come with a lot of heart and a lot of aggression. And it's easier to time a guy like Rob Font, who will throw a lot of shots, probably with cleaner technique, better fundamentals, but you kind of know what he's doing because he's doing, pretty much textbook technique, especially with his jab. So I feel like Figueiredo will be able to counter with inside leg kicks, outside leg kicks, chew up the leg, chew up the calf, times him with some clean counters, sit him down maybe once or twice, make some takedowns. But I think it will be a very close, very competitive fight. And I also think with not having to cut the weight to 25, I think Figueiredo will be stronger. Not saying he'll be stronger than Rob Font, but strong enough. I think he'll have more power. I think he'll have more speed. And I think he'll be a better version of himself at 35 than he was at 25. Not to say that this is a guy that's going to come up here and really shake the weight class up, but I think he'll be good enough to be able to pull off a victory over Rob Font. Very close fight, but I think Figueiredo will land heavy shots, and I think he'll mix it up more, and I think he'll get his hand raised in a decision victory. So in this one, I have Deiveson Figueiredo via decision. Not over to Nicky Betts.
My take is I want Rob Font to win just because he's kind of the underdog, always the underdog. And I like what he did against Adrian Yanez, knocking him out in the first round. So that does make me apprehensive to bet what I'm going to bet on this fight, which is the over 1.5. But I think both of these fighters have a lot of dog in them. So that will keep them in the fight for at least 7 minutes and 30 seconds. If I were to bet it, if you told me that I had to bet it no matter what, I'd probably go Deiveson Figueiredo. But I wouldn't mind seeing Rob Font win. I'm definitely excited to see what Deiveson can do at bantamweight compared to his time at flyweight, because he was champion, multiple times over. I know he fought the same guy like 4 times, but it's still awesome to see, the flyweights have a huge following. So I think it's pretty clear cut that Deiveson should win, but I do see where Rob could come in and make a big upset. So I'll probably bet the over 1.5. No, I'll definitely bet the over 1.5, and I'll probably bet I won't bet the Rob Font money line because he's in the favorite. So I might bet Deiveson Figueiredo as well. It's somewhere in my parlay. But in this one, I got Rob Font via decision. I will bet the over 1.5, and I'll probably sprinkle some money on a parlay with Deiveson Figueiredo.
All right, cool. Now to our next one. We have in our co-main event in the lightweight division, we got Jalen Turner versus Bobby Green. And the real odds should be, what's the odds that Jalen Turner makes weight? So then he fell weight last time. Now he's coming on short notice, and that's a tough sell that he could make the weight and fight Bobby Green. But we shall see. We shall definitely see. But Jalen Turner versus Bobby Green, I'm going average confidence Jalen Turner. I feel like this is a fight he should win. This is a fight he needs to win. He's like 13-7, very talented guy. Feel like everything he needs to be successful, be a champion, even at this weight class. He's still very young, huge for the weight class. Skill, really, I feel he just needs to work on, I guess, his grit and his crunch time efforts. Doing what he needs to do when you need it to be done, and not just when that, the best case scenario, like when I'm fresh and I can just run over a guy, but like when it's that final round and you ain't got nothing left in the tank, but you want to go, dig into the reserves, dig into deeper than you ever dug before and dig that out, or make the right decisions, or, this dude, hasn't shown that super high IQ, nor has shown that super high, this instinct to win. But I think he should be Bobby Green. I feel like Bobby Green hasn't really shown a great track record of dealing with guys that have longer than him. I feel like he has issues with length, and I feel like Jalen Turner could bring that length to him and keep him at base, stab him with teeth to the body, intercept him with elbows, and just really stay on top. And I think he's going to finish him in the second round. But, I think Bobby Green's very game, but I think Jalen Turner's length will cause him issues. I think his constant pressure will cause him issues. I think his attacking the different level. I feel like Bobby Green is typically a boxer. I don't think really attacks too much with kicks, just typically with hands. He does got knees and blind knees and stuff. But as far as effective offense, I think all of his effective offense really comes from his hands. Whereas I feel like Turner has the punches, he has the elbow, he has the knees, he has the clincher. Where I feel like Bobby Green limits himself a lot, and also with the fact that he's done with such length and he likes to dip his head a lot. I think Dan Turner can also exploit that as well now, because when you typically deal with other guys, they are not in range for stuff. But now with Turner, with all that length and how crafty he is, you're in range for everything with him. If you're in range, he's in range. If you're not in range, he's still in range. you probably feel like you're out of range, and he just like bring a head kick up, and you try and lean out of the way, like you think you're in a boxing matchup, dip that head a little bit into a knee, fall into elbow, fall into a head kick, and I just think Turner's going to definitely look to press it on him, and I think he gets him out of there second round. So in this one, I got Jalen Turner via second round TKO. Now over to NickyBets.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Turner in this one as well. I might bet a little bit on Bobby Green in a parlay, but I don't really see how Bobby Green, who's much shorter, and like you said, he kind of leaves himself at a disadvantage by only boxing and then using that like Muhammad Ali style like head movement where he just gets out of the way in the nick of time. I think Jalen Turner can exploit that. I was really impressed with Bobby Green's last win. He shut a lot of people up with that. It got him a ranking. So I think that he's definitely live for maybe doing that again, or it might just happen, once every 5 of, the people think that are the contenders, you know what I mean? They get stopped somehow. So I don't think there's too much to be said that you didn't already say, which is Jalen Turner's the bigger, longer, and more active in what he uses, whereas Bobby Green just kind of punches and moves, might kick just to switch up, not looking like he's going to punch and then move. So I don't see this fight going any other way than Jalen Turner winning, but I might sprinkle a little money on Bobby Green just because of what he did to Grant Dawson, right? Yeah. So in this one, I got Jalen Turner. I'm going to say via decision.
All right, cool. Now on to our next one and on to our main event. So in our main event, we have in the lightweight division, we got Beneil Dariush versus Arman Siakarin. And how I feel about this one right here is I'm going average confidence, Arman Siakarin to beat Beneil Dariush. And with Beneil Dariush, I feel like he has had his moments, and I feel like he has come up short. Came up short against Esmar Boza when he had some steam. He came up short against now Charles Oliveira. So I feel like anytime he gets those moments, he just kind of come up short. Now that I feel like he has exhausted his meal tickets, I guess, like his golden tickets. And not to say that he ever really truly had a golden ticket, because I feel like he had to work hard, and he still was very underrated for a long time. And I feel like he's been, top tier level for a long time. Maybe some performances haven't said otherwise. Like, Charles Oliveira run through him, says like, yeah, you weren't top tier. Charles Oliveira ran through, but that's Charles Oliveira. Like, he runs through people. But yeah, I just feel like it's Arman Siakarin's time is kind of shifting to him. I feel like the narrative shifting to him, and also I feel it's kind of hard to see Beneil Dariush winning this fight anyway, but a decision. I don't see him winning stoppage. I don't see him winning knockout, TKO, submission. Well, that's saying I don't see him getting a KO, TKO, R submission, no cut or nothing. Only way I see Dariush winning this fight really is a decision victory. Whereas I could see Siakarin win a decision. He's younger as well, so that will help. So he could win a decision. He could win a knockout. He could potentially win a submission, but I'm thinking it's either going to be a knockout or decision. And I'm leaning like a third round TKO. I'm predicting a third round TKO. I feel like Siakarin has the better conditioning, now also maybe not better conditioning, but better overall. He'll be able to push a better pace, being the younger guy, the fresher guy, way less mileage. And I feel like will have the wrestling advantage as far as keeping the fight on the feet or taking him down, which I feel like he might just mix it up a little bit just to wear down Dariush, but I don't see that being the main focus of his game. So I just really see a real competitive fight, but I just think Siakarin at this point, being a younger, fresher fighter, and I think more the guy who can control the grappling department more, at least as far as the takedown battle. I'm not saying he's the better submission grappler. I definitely think that's Dariush, but as far as who can control, who gets to score the takedowns and the takedown battle, the wrestling battle, I think Siakarin has it. I feel like he can use that as a tool to wear down Dariush. Just wear the fight down, zap some of that technique out of him, zap the energy out of him, and then leave Dariush a little bit more exposed. I think he wears him down and TKOs him in the third round. But competitive fight to that point, but I think Siakarin's going to be able to outwork him, outgrind him, be more durable, and then put him out third round. So in this one, I have Arman Siakarin via third round TKO. Not over to NickyBets.
Yeah, I'm leaning Arman in this one too. I like Beneil. I think you're right though. He always, when he's supposed to, put on a performance and earn his spot, he always ends up failing. He did really well against Mateusz Gamrot, which I was impressed with. But I might bet I'll probably bet Beneil Dariush by decision. I'll probably bet over 1.5. That will be a part of my parlay tonight. And I'll probably bet money line for Arman, just because it's pretty good odds. But I do think you're right. I don't think there's any way, even in a 5-round fight, that Beneil can beat Arman inside the distance. I think Arman's just too good and too crafty. I don't think that he would let that happen. So in this one, I got Arman Tsarukyan, probably inside the distance.
All right, so that wraps up predictions. Now on to parlay. So we're gonna get right into it. So the parlay I have for this week will be Jamie Lynn Horth. So Horth starts it out. Then the second leg will be I just skipped over a person. Where's Zachary Reese at? All right, so Jamie Lynn Horth, Zach Reese, that's number 2. Number 3 would be Joaquim Silva. And then number 4 will be Arman Siakrin, being the anchor and also being the final fight on the card. So to wrap the parlay up, or to mention the parlay, is Jamie Lynn Horth, Zachary Reese, or Zach Reese, Joaquim Silva, and Arman Siakrin. If you want to really make it juicy, maybe go with Joaquim Silva submission in the distance, or even submission first round, because that's definitely what I'm gearing. That could be, definitely throw that money up some more. So look out for those. And one final time, Horth, Reese, Silva, and Siakrin. So now to NickyBets. What's your parlays?
So yeah, my parlay is gonna be the Beneil Dariush fight. I'm gonna go over 1.5. The Rob Font fight over 1.5. The Sean Brady fight over 1.5. Joaquim Silva, and I'll add Miesha Tate over 1.5, and the Jakar Klose over 1.5. So my parlay officially is Jakar Klose over 1.5, Miesha Tate over 1.5, Joaquim Silva, Sean Brady over 1.5, Rob Font over 1.5, and Beneil Dariush hit all their fights to go over 1.5.
All right, that's solid. So that wraps up our parlays. We're going to kill it this week, as we have killed in many other weeks, definitely in prediction categories. And any further bets, look in the Discord, and any further than that, pay $50 for one time, or pay like $10, $20 a month. But yeah, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to me and NickyBets. And that's the video. Peace.